Good morning. My name is Babs. I am comfortable with she, they pronouns. Today I'm wearing a black, white, and blue flannel, black shirt, black pants. I got some shaggy brown hair on my head, and I'm happy to be here. Whether you are with us here or on site or on Zoom, and whether it's your first time here or one of many, we're glad you are with us today. We hope that you can stay for coffee and conversation after the service, and also today is our friendly feast. So we are going to gather for our monthly potluck meal. You're invited to stay for food and conversation, whether you brought something or not, and we thank the Board of Trustees for hosting today's meal. For this week's announcements, please check the back of your bulletin and the bulletin board in the main hall. The chalice lighter in the sanctuary today is Amber. Our chalice lighting words are "The Work That Takes Time" by Reverend Michelle Collins. We kindle this light for the work that takes time. The seeds unseen rooting, the tides patient carving. The small turning of heart towards open ground. We look towards what is slow and true, and the steady flame that sustains our days.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. My name's Colin Jensen. I use he, him pronouns. I'm a balding guy in my 30s with a purple shirt and black pants on today. Just really happy to be with you. I help out with our children's program here at First UU, and I have a story for you today. A lot of you might know it already. It's called Stone Soup. This originally came from, European folklore. Lots of different European countries have a version of this, but it's one of those cool stories where you go all over the world and so many different cultures have something really similar to this. You could go all the way to the Philippines, you could go all the way to Korea. You'll find stories like this. The version I found today was written and illustrated by John J. Muth. It's a version I really like. 3 monks, Hawk, Lock, and Sue, traveled along a mountain road. They talked about cat whiskers, the color of the sun, and giving. "What makes one happy, Sue?" asked Hawk, the youngest monk. Old Sue, who was the wisest, said, "Let's find out." The sound of a bell brought their gaze to the rooftops of a village below. They could not see from so high above that the village had been through many hard times. Famine, floods, and war had made the villagers weary and untrusting of strangers. They had even become suspicious of their neighbors. The villagers worked hard, but only for themselves. There was a farmer, a tea merchant, a scholar, a seamstress, a doctor, a carpenter, and many others, but they had little to do with one another. When the monks reached the foot of the mountain, the villagers disappeared into their houses. No one came to the gates to greet them. And when the people saw them enter the village, they closed their windows tight. The monks knocked on the door of the first house. There was no answer, and then the house went dark. Whew. They knocked on a second door, and the same thing happened. It happened again and again from one house to the next. These people do not know happiness, they all agreed. But today, said Sue, his face bright as the moon, we will show them how to make stone soup. They gathered twigs and branches and made a fire. They placed a small tin pot on top and filled it with water from the village well. A little girl who had been watching came to them. "What are you doing?" she asked. "We are gathering twigs," said Locke. "We're making a fire," said Hawk. "We are making stone soup, and we need 3 round, smooth stones," said Sue. The little girl helped the monks look around the courtyard until they found just the right ones. Then they put them in the water to cook. "These stones will make excellent soup," said Sue. "But this is a very small pot and won't make much, I'm afraid." "My mother has a bigger pot," said the girl. The little girl ran home. As she started to take a pot, her mother asked her what she was doing. "The 3 strangers are making soup from stones," she said. "They need our biggest pot." Said the girl's mother. "Stones are easy to come by. I'd like to learn how to do that." The monks poked the coals, and as smoke drifted up, the neighbors peered out from their windows. The fire in the large pot in the middle of the village was a true curiosity. One by one, the people of the village came out to see just what this stone soup was. Of course, old-style stone soup should be well seasoned with salt and pepper, said Hawk. "That's true," said Locke as he stirred the giant pot filled with water and stones. "But we have none." "I have some salt and pepper," said the scholar, his eyes big with curiosity. He disappeared and came back with salt and pepper and even a few other spices. Sue took a taste. The last time we had soup stones of this size and color, carrots made the broth very sweet. "Carrots," said a woman from the back. "I may have a few carrots, but just a few." And off she ran. She returned with as many carrots as she could carry and dropped them into the pot. "Do you think it would be better with onions?" asked Hawk. "Oh, yes, maybe an onion would taste good," said a farmer, and he hurried off. He returned in a moment with 5 big onions, and he dropped them into the bubbling soup. "Now that's a fine soup," he said. The villagers all nodded their heads, and the smell was very agreeable. "But if only we had some mushrooms," said Sue, rubbing his chin. Several villagers licked their lips. A few dashed away and returned with fresh mushrooms, noodles, pea pods, and cabbages. Something magical began to happen among the villagers. As each person opened their heart to give, the next person gave even more. And as this happened, the soup grew richer and smelled more delicious. "I imagine the emperor would suggest we had dumplings," said one villager. "And bean curd," said another. "What about cloud ear and mung beans and yams?" cried some others. "And taro root and winter melon and baby corn," cried the other villagers. "Garlic, ginger root, soy sauce, lily buds. I have some," people cried out. And off they ran, returning with all they could carry. The monks stirred and the pot bubbled. How good it smelled. How good it would taste. How giving the villagers had become. At last the soup was ready. The villagers gathered together. They brought rice and steamed buns. They brought lychee nuts and sweet cakes. They brought tea to drink, and they lit lanterns. Everyone sat down to eat. They had not been together for a feast like this as long as anyone could remember. After the banquet, they told stories, sang songs, and celebrated long into the night. Then they unlocked their doors and took the monks into their homes and gave them very comfortable places to sleep. In the gentle spring morning, everyone gathered together near the walls to say farewell. "Thank you for having us as your guests," said the monks. "You have been most generous." "Thank you," said the villagers. "With the gifts you have given, we will always have plenty. You have shown us that sharing makes us all richer." "And to think," said the monks, "to be happy is as simple as making stone soup." All right, we're going to head downstairs. Anyone who wants a more interactive space is welcome to join us. And remember, as you take your little chalices with you, you take the love of this whole congregation with you as well. Thank you, everyone.
Definitely just fell off of my stool. It was here to help. All right. Stone soup, right? That was my favorite when I was a kiddo. Okay. The prelude is There is Balm in Gilead, an African-American spiritual arranged by Nolan Williams and performed by Eva. Our words of invitation today are Seeking That Which Unites Us by Reverend Sarah Eileen Lawal. Spirit of life and love, in this time of uncertainty, of fear and angst, our nation holds its collective breath. In this time when rhetoric blusters about and words are used as weapons, our nation clenches its fist, tightens its shoulders, eyes squeezed shut. Some are preparing for a fight. May we remember that we are a people of resilience. We have faced uncertainty before. We have weathered storms. We have been consumed by flames. We have risen like the phoenix from the ashes, and we will again. We the people. May we remember our shared humanity, our universal kinship, our interdependence, as we unclench our fists and breathe together, breathing in love and breathing out peace. May we recognize the spark of the divine inside all of us, even those we are not quite sure about. In this time of uncertainty, we remember the good will go on as we work to move forward together, we the people, seeking that which unites us, with our arms reaching out wide for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. May love prevail. In the name of all that is holy, we pray. Amen. Our hymn for the month of February is Just as Long as I Have Breath. The lyrics were authored by Alicia S. Carpenter, born in 1930. Carpenter was a prolific writer of lyrics for hymns. Actually, 10 of the hymns with lyrics by Carpenter are including Sleep, My Child, Peace and Peace Attend You, Here We Have Gathered, Gathered Side by Side, and A Promise Through the Ages Rings are included in the Gray Hymnal. During the COVID pandemic, the UUA faced an unexpected challenge. Materials published with permission in the hymnals now required additional permissions for the use in live transmissions and recorded for use situations. These permissions were not always granted, but the estate of Alicia S. Carpenter granted permissions for use of all of the hymns. So let us sing together, Just as Long as I Have Breath. It is number 6 in the Gray Hymnal. The words by Alicia S. Carpenter will be on the screens, and you are welcome to stand or remain seated as we lift our voices in song.
Good morning. Let me find my place here. Okay, hi, I'm Pharaoh. I use she, her pronouns. I am a member of the Board of Trustees here at First UU. And I'm a brunette in my 40s, wearing a blue sweatshirt today and glasses. So, as a community, we share joys and concerns to keep connected. Slips of paper are available at the greeters table when you arrive for those in the sanctuary to use for joys and concerns. During the week, you can send your joys and concerns by email to pastoralcare@springfielduu.org. You can call our church phone and leave a voicemail at 883-3922. And if you're on Zoom right now, you can use the chat box for sharing your joys and concerns. All of our joys and concerns are included in the members' email on Tuesdays, and we honor each joy or concern with a lighted candle, a symbol of the love we as a community offer for each of these joys and concerns. This morning, Amber will be lighting our candles. And so, as we begin this time of sharing, know that though we are in multiple physical spaces, we are together in beloved community. To begin, we hold and love all of us, those present and those absent. We light a candle for our church community. We honor the complex and heartbreaking struggles of our world. We light a candle for all who are impacted. Okay. From Pat, we have a joy and a concern. The people of Minneapolis, Maine, Portland, and others have displayed a great deal of wisdom, love, courage, compassion, and strength. May we follow their examples diligently. We light a candle of both joy and concern. From Emily Jamrock, who says, Steve S.'s wife passed away yesterday. Let's support Steve during this time. We'll light that candle of concern. From Tiffany Gladden, she says, Brett celebrated a birthday this week. River and I are so thankful for him. We light a candle of joy. Sabrina says, please keep my nephew, Derek, and his wife, Elizabeth, in your thoughts as they face the challenge of the loss of Theodore Teddy Michael Sagehorn, age 7.5 weeks old. He had a cardiac episode January 9th. We light a joy of concern for their loss. Finally, well, not finally, but excitedly, we have a joy for the 102nd birthday last week of our friend Linnell. The congregation has filled out a lot of birthday cards. We were sorry we couldn't be here to celebrate with you last week because of the weather. But if your family would like to come up and take these birthday cards from the entire congregation, we'll light a candle of joy. Yeah, 102. We all want to know your secret. And in closing, oh wait, chat box. Can't forget the Zoom folks. Hang on. Let me look through. Yeah, your wife passed. So we lit a candle of concern. That was from Emily. Oh, there it is, Steve. I'm so sorry. Yeah, you wrote, my wife Ann passed away peacefully in her sleep last night. Our hearts and thoughts and love are with you. Sure. And chat box. Let's see here. From Jane, she says, a great joy for the completion of my husband's surgery this past week. The doctor pronounced it a good success. We light a candle of joy for Jane and her husband. And from Dacia, who says, Cynthia Moore is home recovering from Tuesday's shoulder replacement surgery. She will be attending via Zoom for the next 6 weeks or so. Healing thoughts are appreciated. So a candle of concern for Cynthia. Okay, and in closing, for all the joys and concerns that remain unspoken in all of our hearts, we light a candle. May we hold each of these joys and concerns in our hearts and minds. May our community of love ease sorrow and boost celebration. Let us now join together in 1 minute of shared silence, followed by Spirit of Life.
This week in UU history. On February 1st, 2000, Laurel Salton Clark was killed along with 6 other astronauts when their spaceship, Columbia, disintegrated 39 miles above North Texas upon reentry. A native of Ames, Iowa, Clark had wanted to be a veterinarian, but instead became a surgeon for NASA, and she was a member of the Olympia Brown Unitarian Universalist Church of Racine, Wisconsin. Offering our gifts to support the building of inclusive and just communities is just one way that we live into justice and equity together. Some of us have much to give, and some have little, and together it is enough. We are enough to work together for a world where every human can live into their best and most authentic self. Because last Sunday's service was on Zoom only, those who prefer electronic giving were able to donate the basket, or D the B, but the rest of us couldn't donate with cash or check. So today's offering will give those of you who were in the sanctuary an opportunity to donate also. The Social Action Committee has chosen food insecurity for our community, in our community as D the B focus for 2026. This will supplement the contributions from our members make by supporting Crosslines, the Crisis Cold Weather Shelter, Ecclesia, and distributing food items at various community events. And the gardens planted by our Environmental Action Group. Our Social Action Committee also researched organizations that are helping with food insecurity, and like last year, asked the congregation to vote in the fall for the recipients of the year's offerings. All undesignated cash in the basket today and checks and online donations with D the B in the memo will be donated to this fund. As always, if electronic giving is your preferred method, or if you are on Zoom, virtual giving options are available via our website, springfielduu.org. The offertory is My Heart is Ever Faithful by J.S. Bach, performed by Eva.
Who's the dwarf that's been back here? Good morning, and welcome to February. My name is Mike Brown, and for those of you who don't know me, it's still Mike Brown. He, him, and today I'm wearing my favorite color, plaid, and so we begin. The sermon I'll share with you today is How We Come Back, Stories of Resilience by Reverend Ellen Quadgrass, the minister of South Church in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Pema Chodron is a Buddhist nun, best-selling author, and one of my most influential spiritual teachers. I've read almost every one of her books and listened to her published talks probably dozens of times. In a sermon on resilience, Reverend Rob Hardies relates a turning point story from Pema Chodron's life about the day things fell apart. Back then, she hadn't yet discovered Buddhism or taken the name Pema Chodron. Back then, she was Deidre Bromfield Brown. Spoiler alert, no relative. Wife, mother, and school teacher, living in New Mexico. Then one morning, while she stood outside her adobe home, sipping a cup of tea, she heard the car drive up and the door banging shut. Her husband walked around the corner and without warning said he was having an affair and wanted a divorce. You know how sometimes when you receive shocking news, you dissociate. You go numb for a little while. That's what happened to Pema Chodron at first. When her husband told her he wanted to leave, she writes, "First, I just noticed the sky and how blue it was. I saw the river. I saw the steam rising from my cup of tea. There was no time or thought. There was just light and a produced stillness." Before long, though, Pema came to her senses. She bent over, picked up a rock, and threw it at her husband's head. As Hardy's comments, "Isn't it great that Pema Chodron threw a rock at her husband's head, this paragon of mindfulness? I think there is some hope for all the rest of us if Pema Chodron has thrown rocks at her husband. And that's good because these things, these kinds of things happen to us too." That story from Pema Chodron is in a book called When Things Fall Apart, Not If, you will note, but when. Job loss, divorce, illness, financial setback, loss of a loved one, some revelation about your family, some dream that now it is clear to you will never come true. At least, not the way you had so fervently hoped. Things fall apart all the time. And getting from breakdown to breakthrough is not always as easy as reading a book or throwing a rock. There's a TED Talk by a woman named Amy Purdy. At 19, she was full of hope, ready to take on the world, or at least travel it. She flew off to a place with snow, brought her snowboard, found a job as a massage therapist, and for the first time in her life, she said she felt free, independent, and fully in control of her life. Until 2 days in, she went home with a fever and then promptly landed in the hospital with a case of bacterial meningitis that almost killed her. She lost a spleen, a kidney, and both legs below the knees. She felt like a patchwork doll, she said, but was managing to hold it all together until surgeons came forward with her brand new artificial legs. The calves were bulky blocks of metal with pipes bolted together for the ankles and a yellow rubber foot with a raised line from the toe to the ankle made to look like a vein. When she saw that, she lost it. She crawled under the covers in a state of hopelessness, she said, that lasted for months. Amy is not unusual. And while not all challenges are so physically profound, they can have equally strong repercussions in us. When the divorce is final and you have the papers in your hand, something hits home. When the funeral of your loved one is over and you come home to an emptier house or an emptier world, when you finally recognize that you will not regain all the energy or capacity you had before that last illness, when you fail that milestone test or realize something will not ever be what you had so fervently hoped, some weight sits on your chest and you're not sure if it will ever go away. When hard things happen, we humans are vulnerable to loving hope, to, like Amy, pulling the covers over our heads, giving up. It's an experience that can happen to us. It's an experience that can happen to those we love. And there is this place where we sometimes land, this hopeless place, the place before resilience. We don't talk about it all that much because what do you say? Maybe it scares us a little bit, but I imagine we've all been there. We've all seen others go there, where it's like you've been caught in an avalanche of negative thinking that sweeps all your supports down with it, or like being inside some bubble of disillusionment, where everything from there looks pointless. All the things that seemed promising before look different or unhelpful, or maybe even are different to you, because something about you is different. And it's a sticky place, a tricky place. When that negativity gets in your eyes, gets in your perceptions, when no matter what someone says to you, no matter how helpful they're trying to be, everything goes through some twisted Google Translate that makes it all sound bad. Well-meaning suggestions come through as lack of confidence in you. Reminders of the bright side leave you feeling just unheard or more alone. And when you're on the other side, if you've ever tried to cheer up someone in this state, you know how well that goes. So there's this place, this dark place, this place before resilience, where we can get stuck, where well-meaning efforts don't always help. There's this sweet YouTube video by Brené Brown on empathy that reminded me of one thing that might help. In it, a young fox has a cloud over her head and it's raining, just on her. Her friend, Bear, stands next to her, no rain cloud over him. Suddenly, the ground beneath Fox's feet cracks open and she falls into a deep, dark hole. She calls up, "I'm stuck. It's dark. I'm overwhelmed." Bear throws down a rope ladder, climbs down and says on the way down, "I know what it's like down here, and you're not alone." Antelope, on the other hand, looks down the hole from the top, chewing on a sandwich and says, "Ooh, it looks bad." And, "Whew, want a sandwich?" in a tone that does not sound empathetic. Then Antelope goes on to try to point out a silver lining. What if you had a miscarriage? At least you know you can get pregnant. What, John's getting kicked out of school? At least Sarah is an A student. What, you're worried your marriage is falling apart? At least you have a marriage. Not necessarily helpful. Empathy is a choice, Brené suggests, and it's a vulnerable choice, because in order to connect with you, I have to connect with something in myself that knows that feeling in the video. Bear pulls from under his baseball cap a rain cloud that looks a lot like the one raining on Fox and places it over his head. Now both of them are standing at the bottom of the hole, getting wet together. I don't even know what to say right now, Bear says. I'm just so glad you told me. I sometimes think that as much as we want to help pull people out of the negative spaces they're in, much as we want to point them to the light, sometimes what they really need is for us to keep them company in the dark, at least for a while. Offering presence, warmth, kindness, simple presence. A reminder that they're not alone, that the feelings they have aren't wrong, that they are okay, no matter what just happened. Your simple presence can be a sign that you trust their ability to put the pieces together in a way that works for them, because ultimately they're the only ones who can. And when we are in that space, when it's we who feel lost and alone, when it is we who are rushing to put the vase of our lives back just the way it used to be, trying to convince ourselves we're fine, I wonder if the answer is not the same. A gentle trust in ourselves, in our ability to sort through the pieces and create something new in time. A trust that we are fundamentally okay no matter what just happened, even as it feels how it feels, even as we reach for a connection with others who can listen, with others who can help, even as we reach for a connection with the simple goodness that is always part of you, part of life. I read a story of a Tibetan Buddhist nun who years ago was interviewed after a long imprisonment by the Chinese government. A reporter asked her how she had survived all those years in solitary confinement. She replied, "I knew that at every moment, somewhere in the world, someone was saying metta for me. In every moment, she imagined, someone was holding her in their hearts, reminding her she is not alone, not beyond love," as the poem wrote. One of the most powerful tools I learned from Pema Chodron, our iconic rock thrower from the beginning of this sermon, is a way of using our imaginations to stay balanced. Work with heavy feelings. Remind ourselves we are not alone. Breathe in the dark, she said, and breathe out the light. Breathe in as you allow yourself to experience your disappointment, your disillusionment, your loneliness, your fear. Then breathe out light, not just for yourself, but for all the other beings who are feeling that same thing too. Breathe in the pain of your mistakes, of those of others, and breathe out sunshine and birdsong and fireplaces and fresh bread for yourself and all beings who are in that same pain. Soon you will know you're not alone. One of Pema's teachers said to her once, "Please keep working with negative feelings, hard emotions. You'll be such an inspiration for others." We too can move from a story of defeat and isolation to one of courage and connection, maybe even inspiration, one breath at a time. Letting go again and again of our thoughts, letting go of what we thought was immutable, and learning that reality is bigger, always bigger, than our limited minds can grasp. When our stories break, when the pieces no longer fit the way they did, when our feelings are are an avalanche of negativity, we don't have to give in, and we also don't have to pretend we're just fine. We can breathe consciously, take care of ourselves. We can remember goodness, kindness, fresh bread. Remember, we can connect with others, even if only in our hearts. We can give ourselves time to grieve, even as we keep putting one foot in front of the other, reassembling the pieces, walking a path towards something new. And the more we practice these habits, the more resilient we become. And the more that even old, sometimes long-forgotten traumas start to work their way out of our system. Until we start seeing our tomorrows in a fresh light, day by mindful day. Amy Purdy, in the TED Talk I described earlier, doesn't go into any detail about what happened in or around her during those hopeless months in bed. She doesn't share if she had visitors, doesn't share if she felt alone, doesn't say what the journey through discouragement looked like for her. We just know she came out the other side. One day she woke up and had, she said, a flash of insight about those horrible metal bolted legs which sent her under her covers in the first place. She realized that while they were very much not hers, that also meant they could be changed, swapped out. So while she'd been 5 foot 5 inches, she could now be as tall as she wanted, or as short, depending on who she was dating. It meant that she could snowboard without her feet getting cold. And it meant she could make her feet whatever size she wanted to fit any of the shoes on the sales rack. Clearly, she'd gotten her sense of humor back. What now? In her turning point moment, she came face to face with this question: if my life were a book and I were the author, how would I want things to go next? What new chapter is opening up for me now? With this new reality in place. She researched artificial limbs and feet for a year, and not finding any that would work for snowboarding, she built her own. Through her efforts, ingenuity, and persistence, she ultimately won 2 back-to-back World Cup snowboarding medals, becoming the highest-ranked adaptive snowboarder in the world. She ultimately founded a nonprofit so other young adults with physical disabilities could get involved in active sports, turning her own adversity into a gift for others. If you ask me today if I would ever want to change my situation, I would have to say no, Amy Purdy says at the end of her talk, because my legs haven't disabled me. If anything, they've enabled me. They've forced me to rely on my imagination and to believe in the possibilities. Because in our minds, we can do anything and we can be anything. As we walk through our dark, we may just find ourselves cleared out from a life that is inexplicably wider, deeper, richer than it was before. We may just find ourselves brought more alive. And this is also true, as Ram Dass once said, we are all just walking each other home. May we accompany each other on the journey as day by day we build ourselves anew. The swan is often used as a symbol in the spiritual tradition of the world in yoga philosophy. The swan symbolizes wisdom and the ability to detach and separate truth from illusion. Great teachers were given the title Paramahansa, or Great Swan. We'll now get to hear The Swan by Camille Saint-Saëns, arranged by Henry Levine, performed by Eva.
closing words today are from Joel Miller. Let our lives be a prayer that waters dry souls, mends broken hearts, refuses to be terrorized, seeks this world's beauty, and carries us through its storms. Our final hymn today is We Build a Land. The words are adapted from the ancient biblical prophets, Amos and Isaiah. The tune Creation of Peace was composed by Carolyn McDade, who is best known for writing the words to Spirit of Life, which we sing every Sunday. Paul has an announcement to share before we sing We Build This Land, but in preparation for that, it is number 121 in the gray hymnal, and the words will be on the screens. You may sit or stand to sing, and you may remain standing after the song for our chalice extinguishing and unison sending words. And another brief announcement.
We're going to be having a friendly feast after church today. I will not be here, unfortunately. But for those who aren't going to be here, if you look down at our carpet, some of you may not know that it's carpet squares. I talked to Ross about this week, and he said that in wintertime the carpet does this, but I've never seen it do it like this. You can actually walk up to the carpet with your toe and pick up a piece if you want to. That means if you slide chairs around on the carpet this morning for the friendly feast, you're probably going to pick up some carpet. That's what this little rascal is for. You can stack up chairs and then slide this under and move the chairs. Or pick up chairs, but please be careful because the carpet really is sticking up a lot on the edges. And we're pretty much blaming you on this rather nasty winter we're having. So a word of caution there, and let's go ahead and sing. If you feel like standing while you're singing, please do.
Oh
to remind you that the deadline to submit the DRE survey is now this Tuesday. That's February 3rd. The search committee for the new Director of Lifespan Religious Education for the First UU wants to know what qualities, skills, experiences, and goals you consider most important for the interview of the candidates. There are paper surveys available at the table on the east side of the sanctuary in the middle pile, and there are also links to the online survey in both the Tuesday and Thursday emails from last week. Your input is needed and valued. We will now extinguish our communal and personal chalices and close with the unison sending words. Our service here is ended. Our service to the world